Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. It's a warm, breezy day here in the Ozarks. It doesn't feel like October, that's for sure. But we'll eventually get there. Looks like for those of us here in the Ozarks, it's going to be a unusually warm Sukkot, for those of you that know what that means. May not be a whole lot of sitting around the campfires at night. We'll see. So yeah, a lot of things going on today. Well, actually, by the time you're watching this, we will just about hit the deadline for Hamas to accept a deal and for Israel to accept a deal, because it also looks like Israel is wavering on what is going on. So we'll see. I mean, remember, the president kind of laid down the gauntlet and said if a deal is not met by a certain time today, that all hell will break loose. So we'll see if that actually happens. I don't know. I mean, Iran looks like it's still very much getting ready for a war. That's also happening in the Middle East. So who knows? Another thing I wanted to talk about today, and mostly the big thing, is some more economic stuff. And I've got some things here to show you that's not related to that, but just hold on. I know you're all thinking, oh, what's going on? I've got a couple of charts to show you. Because, we keep hearing all this stuff about how it's such a strong economy and everything's great. And we all know that that's not true. It came out last week that almost, over a third of the states here in the United States are already in what would be considered a recession. And it's getting worse. So I have a couple of charts here that I think are very significant to show you how bad things are economically and why you need to get prepared. I mean, yesterday, gold broke another record, $3,900 an ounce, over $3,900. That's significant. I mean, remember when people were freaking out at $2,000, $2,300, $2,500? Well, now we're almost at $4,000. At this rate, we'll probably, if it continues at this rate, we'll probably break $5,000 by the end of the year. I'm not making a prediction. I'm just saying at the current rate, that's the most likely, option. And of course, silver's going up too. And all that shows that our dollar is just worth less and less. For weeks now, every week, the U.S. Treasury has been buying back U.S. debt because no one else is buying it. No one's buying this stuff. They don't want it because it's all bad. The Chinese yuan is now the fourth biggest traded currency in the open market, in the global market. And people are just using the U.S. dollar less and less globally. Well, some of these numbers, here's one chart I wanted to show you somewhere right here. This is shipping shipping stuff. It's showing that it's lower almost than it's ever been. It's actually lower than it was during COVID. If you look at that, trucking, shipping, all that kind of stuff. That means goods are less and less being moved around the country. In fact, the only times that it was worse, according to that chart, was in 2008 with the great financial crisis, and then back in the early 90s with the recession back then. So that right there, that's a pretty big one. Goods are not being transported around. They're not moving. Trucks aren't moving. Stuff's not moving. Store shelves are going to start getting thinner and thinner. It very easily could start looking as bad as it did during COVID, maybe worse, at least in some areas. It's because there's less and less imports. There's less and less exports. Last year we exported $12 billion in soybean to China. This year was zero. They bought all their soybeans from Argentina, and then we turned around and sent Argentina $20 billion to bail out its farmers after China bought all their soybeans from there. So this is another sign, another signal of the season that we're in. If you watched the video this morning, the season that we're in, meaning that you need to really seriously step it up and get prepared. The other chart I want to show you, this is delinquencies on loans for businesses. Now, delinquencies on loans for home loans, delinquencies on auto loans, delinquencies on credit cards are all at like all-time highs. But this is commercial real estate, commercial loans. Delinquencies on these commercial loans are the highest they've ever been in recorded history. Meaning that businesses are not able to make their payments. So eventually, they're going to go out of business. If this keeps up. It means companies, businesses are hurting. That's a bad, bad deal for our economy. Now, of course, what's going to happen is companies like BlackRock and stuff are going to buy everything up. That's what they always do. They buy up, all the real estate. They buy up the businesses. They buy up the farms. And they're going to do the same thing with this. So the next time you hear how great our economy is, understand that in the commercial industry, it's really slowing down. And remember, there is kind of that trickle down effect. So, and many of you learned this during COVID. So, for instance, when the shipyards out in California shut down, you didn't feel it immediately. It took weeks or months for it to really start to hit your store shelves and your own pantry. And it's the same thing with this. As we see this sudden decline in goods being transported, as we see this sudden decline in companies being able to make their loan payments, it's going to take a while before it becomes directly apparent to you. Also, if you look at like hiring jobs, there's tremendous amount of less jobs on the market today. And it's getting worse and worse every month because companies, they're hurting. They can't hire people. The tariffs that they're having to pay, because it's the companies that's paying them, and then they pass it on to you. And then you can't pay for stuff because you don't have as much money as you used to, because your money's not worth as much. And so, there's not as much hiring going on. It's putting everything in a real big bind. So kind of piggybacking on the video this morning, the season is to get seriously ready, because the economy and just everything revolving around that, everything, trade, economy, dollar, gold, and then the supply chain, it's all doing really rough. All right. I want to talk about this again. I know some of you might already getting tired of it. This is a fundraiser I'm doing. I'm doing it for our emergency response and disaster team that we have here in our county. We do go outside the county, but it's based here in the county that I live in. It's something that I founded and started, and we're a nonprofit. We are officially authorized by our county to act on disasters, to respond to search and rescues, to respond to emergency medical, all of that kind of stuff. And we have a good team, and we train, and it's very professional and in all good quality. But we are self-funded. So the county authorizes us, but they don't fund us. And so we have to raise our own money. So I have decided to do this fundraiser to raise money for our team. And what I'm doing is I'm giving away this really amazing first responder kit. This would be an excellent medical kit for all of you preppers out there. Something to stick in your vehicle, have in your home, in your bug out location, whatever. And this is very professional. I hand-picked this bag, and I hand-picked every item in this bag based on what I use as a first responder. First of all, this bag is a high-quality professional, not cheap Chinese junk, Lightning X product. It's a very good one. It's not too big, but it's just a good starter size. And it's filled with all kinds of stuff. When I have all this stuff in here, it's packed full. But, all kinds of dressing and gauze in here. There's several of each different kind, different types of wraps and ace bandage, and there's flashlights and compressed gauze and Kim light and Sam splint and puke bags. Oh, got to turn my camera down. It's hard to do this and keep the camera going. Emergency blankets, emergency poncho, eye wash. There's some more stuff. You get a brand new thing of Narcan, just in case you need it. A cat, a North American Rescue Cat Gen 7 tourniquet. Some chest seals, burn gel, compression, a brand new BP cuff, stethoscope, shears, pulse oximeter. Over here, you're going to get a whole set of oral pharyngeal airways. You're also going to get a nasal pharyngeal airway. You're going to get a big, giant trauma dressing, just the big one. Some smaller ones. Oops, things are falling down. I'll pick them up. Oxygen tubing in case you have access to that. A big collar to stabilize the neck. There's several more things in there. I'm not pulling everything out. But the idea is that you get a really amazing kit, and I'm giving that away this week. You can go to the link in the description or at the comment section below and make a donation to get a chance to win. You can do 0 donation, small donation, large donations. You're buying different chances. You'll figure it out when you click on the link. And when you click on that link, it'll list in detail every item that's in this bag. So it's a pretty amazing kit. And like I said, it's a very high quality professional gear, and someone is going to walk away with a good bag and take care of a lot of their medical problems when it comes to prepping. Now, one more thing. When you do this, and for all of those that you have already purchased your chances to win this, you'll get an email. That's not just some generic thank you email. Go and check that email out, because in there I have listed several websites, several businesses that are friends of this channel. They come to our local meetings. They make a great products, and there are discount codes if you choose to purchase from any of those companies, those businesses. There's links to them and separate discount codes for each one of them. So go check those out. They are helping sponsor and support this fundraising effort for our team. So like I said, if you want to get on this, you better do it, because there's just a few more days left before I have to pull the plug. And then it takes time to gather all the names and print them off, and then go through the whole thing of choosing who wins, and then we'll announce it. I think it's this coming Friday, unless something changes. That's my goal. But sometimes I get tied up because I'm a first responder and because I do all this. Sometimes I have to change the date. So it probably either be Thursday or Friday is what I'm shooting for, unless something comes up that I can't control. But yeah, definitely get in on this, because this is easily a $400 plus kit, because of all the stuff. Just like Narcan, that's $40-50 to buy it. There's another $35-40, stethoscopes and all that kind of stuff. So there's and then the bag, like I said, that's not a cheap bag. It's a high quality bag. When you get it, whoever wins it, you'll realize it's a high quality bag, just the way it feels. So I would jump in on this if you want. And even just buying one chance is one chance, right? So anyways, you need to be getting ready. We are in a season of chaos and turmoil and collapse. Not saying that those things are definitely happening, but that's just kind of the season we're in, and war and violence and darkness. And that's why we have to keep getting ourselves ready, prepared daily, mentally, physically, and spiritually, because of what's happening and what is still yet to come. Thank you all for watching. Catch you in the next one.